We got a new look.
I like our new look.
We got a new look. Yeah, it's been a lot. We took this downtime to like up our game.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah. Welcome to Jenna and Brenna.
Hi, guys. Yay.
Yeah. I don't know. We're doing a podcast, but we don't have those microphone things anymore. But I thought it would be better to have a platform where we talk a little more free. It's all good.
I like it, and I like the aesthetic of the rain in the background.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, what's new?
Well, we were discussing The Handmaid's Tale. That's super new for me. I was really excited, and I have to say pleasantly surprised with the ending. Can't wait for you to get there.
Yeah, I started it. Okay. Well, first of all, Jenna's the one that got me into The Handmaid's Tale.
Guilty.
And everybody's talked about it, and they're like, "Oh man, it's this, it's that," and I'm like, "I'm not ready for that yet." And finally, when Jenna told me about it, it was like spooky season, so I'm like, "Okay, I can handle something a little more intense." Got sucked in, binge watched up like all 5 seasons because it's really well done. Even if you don't really like the story, the filming, the storytelling, the whole of the world that they draw you into with the Gilead and all of that, it's intense, right?
Yes.
So just even from a strictly objective storytelling kind of like perspective, it's very well done. But also it's a little bit of a mind trip.
It's very dark.
Yeah.
Let's start there, and I think it's a conversation opener for anyone if you look at it. Because I think it shows the polarity and what happens when you go too far to one side of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When things go to extremes, just how dangerous it'll be.
Yeah, or like the thing that you can look at it any way you want with the politics or whatever, but when it's like stripping people their rights away, and those are some very fundamental things that they covered in the story. Freedom of the press, women's rights, religious rights, it's all in that story. It's intense.
Well, especially one of the characters that I think is really important to realize the different facets that they have is Serena Joy. Because she is such a smart, intelligent woman. And you know, in the beginning when you see her, you just feel she's so oppressed, you know. You see her as almost mindlessly following this man, and then as you go on into the different seasons, you see how
it's kind of like her that started the whole thing, and like he just takes over her like vision. So yeah, she might be oppressed, but you're like, I have no. It's, oh my gosh, I forget what season it is. It's kind of like the one where the handmaid gets poisoned and the when they send him to that place.
Yes, I believe you're talking about season 4.
Okay, yeah, we're that
I'm pretty
one.
sure.
She's out there and she's like, "Oh, my this and my that," and she's like, "Oh, thank you so much for helping me," but really in actuality, the lady's like poisoning her because of her bad behavior in Gilead. And it's like, yeah, you kind of feel that way about Serena Joy. Like, lose your finger, nobody cares.
I mean,
it is weird by that time because then the main character like has some empathy for her, and you're like, why?
It's such a beautiful thing. I love how Elizabeth Moss, when she talks about the characters, she thinks that the story is really a love story between Offred and Serena Joy. Like the way they come together. They're 2 intelligent women, and both of them watch this world go wrong, and they ended up on different sides of it. And it's interesting how the character June, who is also Offred, if you haven't seen the show, she has this compassion. I wouldn't call it empathy. I'd call it compassion for Serena. She recognizes how brilliant she was, but she also sees how naive she was to think that her position in a man's world was going to make a difference when giving her power to the man. And it's and you know, I have my own thoughts on that, but I'm going off the show.
Yeah. No, I have thoughts.
You know,
we have thoughts.
And it is very interesting because they show how Gilead's made. So you know, for those of you who've never seen the show, Gilead is a dystopian society that's based in the United States. They take over the United States and enslave women to have babies because birth rates have dropped all over the world.
Right. Like almost to the point where it's clinical, medical, something's going on with the species, evolutionary decline in being able to obtain a pregnancy and maintain the pregnancy onto birth. And even after birth, there's something that's going on with the children where like the mortality rate is like higher.
Extremely high. And it's interesting because you see these very different characters, some women, some men, who are part of the problem, but they were also part of the solution to fixing this as well. So, they have an economist that recognized, oh, well, it's because we're too polluted, so this is how we're going to fix that. And he found a way to do that, which made Gilead prosper as a country, even though they're horrible in the way they treat females.
It's like Inquisition times, like literally treating people as though they're targets of the other, like, doing medieval stuff to them, to the point where they're like literally medieval biblical like lashings to them.
Yeah, it's really interesting because what they do is they take away the rights to read for women in general. So they're just blindly forced to follow an indoctrination that is created by these gentlemen who pervert a holy text, and they turn it into what they want it to be for power. And they even talk about it in the show, so this isn't a presumption. They actually have a scene where the men are in a car talking about how they can get their wives to be complicit enablers and even part of the crimes that they commit against women to bring children into the world.
Yeah, but it's also like out in the open too. They don't hide it. Like there's those punishments, right? They're meant to correct society. They're meant to like hold people accountable or even behave correctly. But like, if your husband does something wrong, he can be targeted and lose an arm, or if your wife is not producing, or if the handmaid is doing something like it's just out in the open that we're going to accept this really dastardly behavior.
Yes, the women are so numb to what they're doing. They even have moments where they have them stone other people, and they're excited for those things because that's the only time they ever get relief from their own imprisonment. And it's an interesting societal experiment.
Yeah.
They kind of really dig in deep to what happens to strong-willed people of different sexual orientations, you name it, when they're forced into a society that doesn't allow you any individualism at all. You must conform, whether you're high-ranking or whether you're a lowly handmaid. It's just very interesting to watch.
Gosh, it's a really interesting to watch, but then it also like leaves you thinking about it and reflecting on it and almost changed by it a little bit. I mean,
Definitely.
I don't know who, comment out there if you're watching it, and now that the sixth and final season is out there. Definitely want to hear. I haven't seen the whole thing. Jenna's gone all the way, but I'm like, I don't know. I think there's something about it that it was like, it's too good. I don't want to watch it go.
Well, what I love about it is that while you're watching it, you can gain these different perspectives about different characters. And I personally love characters that people love to hate. And they hate them because they have heinous acts in the show. I won't even try to defend their acts. But there are some characters where I look at them and I understand how they got there. You know what I mean? Their ideals were just so pure. Their dreams were right on point. And even their faith was very strong. But it does show what happens when you expect others to conform to your beliefs, and how that can warp your mind, and that can make you do heinous things that you will tell yourself are correct because you need that. At least that character did. You notice that they continued to defend their acts.
The crumbling of the government is also very interesting because you go from this America that people know that you can say whatever you want. Obviously there are limitations to freedom of speech, but you can be who you want. You can dress who you want. You can do a lot of like individualistic, autonomous stuff to the like we need to get rid of that. that no longer works. We're gonna just change it up and recreate this whole new government system based off of nothing that people are used to having and total oppression.
It is shocking the way they do it slowly. So we've seen this in society before, not in America, thank God, but, we've seen it. Where do they start? They start with small things where there's police presence everywhere. It becomes the new normal. And then the women come home to find their paychecks are no longer being issued to them. They don't have access to their bank accounts. But if they're married, their husbands they'll give the money to their husbands.
Yeah. As a counselor, the reason why I see like that being so bad and like giving the one male species like sorry, I call them a species like they're like
like they're separate,
not of our rank. But think about all the abuses and people that are trying to escape that, and we value like people being safe, or in the show they did, and it's no longer about that. It's just all ideal. It's all what's that one? It's like real religious,
like a cult.
Like a cult, but like what the theology behind the cult that makes it so powerful. The
groupthink.
The groupthink. Like because the order of it all.
Yes, because how did they get an entire community? First, there was military force, right? They had that force. They made that the new normal. They knew that these people were going to be around. Then they made it about the problems that they were going to fix. So the environment was so bad. We had so much waste and so much pollution that it was poisoning our water and all of this according to this fictitious world, right? And so they say they're going to fix that by getting rid of all these other things. And then the birth rate thing. They gathered all the data. They breached everyone's personal information, mind you. This is important.
Sound familiar?
It's very important. Is that they started putting people on registries based on live births.
Yeah.
How many were fertile? How many successfully had children?
Yeah.
And then they refused these people, because they're women, let's not pretend they're women. They refused these women the ability to leave the country after they were found fertile. They were then put in cages and tagged like cattle.
Like cattle, that's right. They had that air thing.
And they were indoctrinated on what would happen to them next, to be forced to be surrogates for couples that wanted babies. So, that's the basis of the show. I mean, it gets a lot darker, and trigger warnings there. They're forced into creating these children with the men.
Yeah.
And then they have to give up their children.
Yeah. It's interesting, to say the least. It's a good show.
It's really good. I think there's a lot of layers to it, and I think that's why it was so successful. And I think there's a lot to think about. I think it makes people think about a lot of things. And one of the things that I think is interesting about the show, and it's overlooked a lot, is the way it sort of... So much hate for what I'm about to say. But it almost... right? But it's my personal... I feel like it villainizes women who have that desire to be their natural feminine form, and that's being a mother and being home and being a wife and being submissive. It takes it to a whole other level and kind of villainizes it into slavery. And I think that's an interesting tone that nobody talks about at the show. It is definitely a woman in power, let's get our power back, She-Ra moment as you watch this lowly handmaid go through all these horrible things, but somehow she perseveres and fights and frees so many women in the process. And you feel this power for her. But I think the contrast, the polarity in there is the woman that enslaves her in the first place.
Yeah.
Is you see this woman who desperately wants to be a wife, and she desperately wants to be a mother, and she desperately wants to fulfill this role that she feels is her God-given right. And
yeah, but you're like, hold on now, lady. Come
yes,
on.
I will not condone how she does it.
Yeah.
I will not condone any of the things she does. She's heinous.
Yeah.
But I hate the things she does, but I understand
the desire,
thinking
the
desire.
Yeah. Well, that's a problem. So I can't help but take the Handmaid's Tale off the screen and like synthesize it with everything that happens around us in the world. And it's
Yes.
like on one hand you have this like dystopian society in a story, and then the reason why we even are on this topic is because I was telling Jenna about the Softway Underbelly podcast, or no, it's not a podcast. It's a YouTube channel. So you see, like, you're like, wow, am I even like watching reality right now?
Yeah.
But like, this is a reality. Skid Row, typhoid fever, plague, people out there like off their rocker, like total anosognosia, like no awareness of what is going on. It's just all like either drug induced, mental health. Anyways,
Yeah,
it's an interesting podcast, or I'm sorry, it's an interesting channel, which I'm as a voyeur, I'm kind of addicted to watching. So then there was this doctor on there, like mansplaining women's happiness on there, and I'm like, Jenna, let's talk about it, because he's such a nice like doctor, learned, very gentle, nothing wrong with what he's saying and all. Like
Yes.
we have this like harsh reality of like of how tight-gripped society can be, and yet we have like lost. We're off the hinges in Skid Row. Like, let's just put it out there like that, right? And then we have this like very clear doctor mansplaining, like almost about his life and what he's been experiencing, and love and the like love and loss and all of that. And I'm like, there has to be somewhere in between where people just don't care.
Yes.
Like we care. We don't want people out there, like living in squalor, and we can honor the lady that wants her baby and like wants to have like motherhood, but we can also honor that people are born with free will.
Yes.
Team free will. Right. And I don't know how the two are connected. They're probably not to anybody else, but to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I see parallels.
No, they are related. I think it's very important because that is the message, I believe, one of the messages that you can get from The Handmaid's Tale is that anything in extremes is awful. Because somewhat, one of the lines that they have in the show, and I believe it's Fred Waterford that says it, I might be wrong, but he says, a better world isn't always better for everyone. And it's such an interesting, creepy line, and I hate that character. But, when he says it, that's how he justifies what they're doing. We're making a better world, and it's not going to be great for everyone, but it'll make the world better. And it's sick.
Yeah.
It's sick. And, my favorite character on that show, his name is Commander Lawrence. He's a bad guy.
Oh, I love him, though. His wit is like, I could just see myself joking not funny, the things they're doing. Please don't misread that. But his wit, I'm like, I could see myself joking my way through Gilead.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. But Commander Lawrence, he is exactly what we're talking about. He's a good man who is intelligent, and he recognizes how to build an economy. He's also smart, so he knows how to get men to follow him. He's self-preserving, and, our main character comes to know him very well in the show, and she just can't stand that. She doesn't understand it. And what I love about him is the polarity. He's not all good. He's not all bad. He's multifaceted. And
as most of us are.
Yes. And so he does a lot of really awful things, and he deserves some pretty ugly things that could or may not happen to him, but he also is a good person who helps a lot of people get out of there safely.
Nice.
So, you know what I mean? Like one of the things I love is that The Handmaid's Tale is so relevant to now because it does give you the opportunity to see these people who are considered bad people, and you see that they're not all bad.
Well, I think that wanting to get a wrangle on some of the things that are happening in society makes total sense. Being on the streets is disgusting. It is. I'm sorry. You think I'm like judging? Probably am. I do apologize. I recognize people's autonomy and freedom to do that, but I think it's disgusting. I don't think that kids should be like kicked out of parks so that a homeless man can like sleep there. I don't think it's fair to people who like want to live in neighborhoods and have like their local areas encroached upon by people who don't have anywhere else to go. But not only that, but that wasn't the only gross story that I had. You know, with that school that our kids went to, we had a trip to that library that's like really close one day, and there's a park there, and there was a like man passed out there, and he had left his like morning constitution in the sandbox. The kids played in the sandbox and they were covered.
Oh my gross. Oh my gross.
No,
Oh my
for real. Like this one girl got it really bad, and like she had to go through the whole of like the library, and like I just felt really bad for her because honestly she didn't have her mom there, and it was like really just disgusting to like have that. And then to me that was like the turning point. What is not the world it's not the world I grew up in, and it is just disgusting. So wanting to get a wrangle on like the debauchery, like the debauchery, I get it.
And then, I think that's also part of it is, we talk about the multifaceted characters. Looking in our lives, too, there's multifaceted reasons for why that's a problem right now. And instead of us being able to have, that, this poor person has nowhere else to go. It's so bad for them that they are literally using a sandbox as a cat litter box because they don't even have a bathroom.
Right.
This is a problem. But you
it's
as
disgusting.
A mother are taking your children to have a safe place to play. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by multifaceted. It's not wrong for you to be disgusted by that. It's not wrong for you to want your kids to have a safe place to play that it doesn't have, that doesn't have feces in the box. You know what I mean?
I don't know, like if it's like happening everywhere, or if it's just the city that we're in particular. But it's really gross.
It is
disgusting. And I can see how people like in the Gilead world would want to form a society. And I hear people like right, left, whatever you want to like, wherever you fall on the politics scale. I'm right in the middle personally, but I could see people on either side being like, we don't want this. I'm like, you know what? I don't want that either. Like, I don't want that, but I don't know if I'm going to go out and create a Gilead to like not have that.
Exactly.
That's like this whole story out there is like that coming to fruition. Like we're going to draw a line in the sand and we're not going to do it anymore. Not only are we not going to do it anymore, but if you try to cross that line, we're going to like punish you severely.
Well, I think what was really shocking for people, especially in Gilead too, and that made up society, and is the reason why we keep bringing it back to that is these are very real things that could happen in real time.
Yeah.
Like people could use, and not just any religious text. In this show, they're using Christianity, and I have my feelings about that, but it's typical because right now Christianity is under fire as a religion, as a spirituality. It's something that is under a lot of revision because of the oppression that has been given over years. And so it is what it is. Mm-hmm. But the thing that I recognize in the show is that they use that to get people to do what they want. And but even the people that think they would want that society, take our main character, for instance. She is a fertile woman who is married, had a baby with her husband.
But because they were like, he was married before they got together, they considered her like a harlot, right? Because she broke up a marriage.
She did. She was an adulteress. She stole a married man. They fell in love.
Therefore, you don't deserve your family. Your child is ours now. Yeah.
So they got married after he left his wife, divorced her, and then they got pregnant, and they had their baby. So she was considered a charlotte. Yeah, a charlatan. She was considered a whore, and they took her child from her, and her husband and her were considered not really married because of how they got together. And I don't, you can feel how you want about that. You can be on either side of that. Either way, could you imagine being that character and living your life and then being told because you chose to live it this way, we're going to take everything away from you? And you know what I mean? Like that for me is something that people don't think about when they choose their side of something. They want this life, but do they really? And what you consider ugly for someone else might find you're ugly in another sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like I totally get it, but like to me, I'm like Litterbox Man is ugly. Like,
no, I agree with
ugly thing to
the
do to
fact
kids.
that he had. I think that's where I'm seeing it too. As a mother, I wouldn't want that around my children. I wouldn't want that to be where they wanted to play. I wouldn't want to have that be a thing where I go to a park to have my children be innocent and have to protect them, make sure I have enough pepper spray, make sure I have what I need, my phone on ready in case he turns out to have a mental illness where he comes near my child. And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nobody should have to worry about that. Right. But on the other side of that, because I am who I am and I do what I do, my heart for someone who has nowhere else to go and their life has been so conditioned to be rejected everywhere.
Yeah.
That is where they are in
Yeah.
life. The compassion I have for him as well is like, but who's watching him? Where's his mama?
Yeah, that's true, I guess, but
I know, but there's both. But you see the multifaceted part about that. You have a right to be angry. That doesn't take away your right to not want that there at that park.
my problem with watching things like Gilead, or sorry, the Handmaid's Tales, is I have difficulty with, like, because I'm very emotional and I'm like processing things at a very deep level. I have difficulty compartmentalizing. I can't just put it in like, oh, it's just a show. Like, it gets in my emotions. I start thinking of Litterbox Man, and I'm like, it bothers me. Like, we're gonna either head, because things are so out of control right now. We're either gonna head to a Gilead, or we're gonna like just be all undone. And there's that seepiness into my spirit that
you can feel it.
It's like, no, I shouldn't be watching this show. It's not good.
But you know what? It's also eye-opening. That's why, it's one of those things you have to cleanse your palate after watching it. Watch a lot of fun, happy, beautiful things, kind of why I chose pastels today for the contrast, is because you're right. It is such a dark show, and it can take you to some dark places. But I think it's important we go there sometimes. We need to look at life through every lens of color that there is and ask ourselves, where are we contributing to getting closer to a Gilead, and where are we contributing to getting closer to dumpster alley everywhere in the nicest of neighborhoods?
Right.
And I don't know. It's a great question.
I don't know if people have that same experience watching it, but I remember somebody once watching it and being like, they were having a lot of resentment towards their husband.
Oh, yeah.
After watching it, and I was like, don't watch that show.
Do not watch that show if you're upset with a man in your life, especially a man in his masculine form who is in his leadership form. You do not want to watch this show if you have a man in that form and you're mad at him. Don't. Because you're gonna pervert it. I'm going to be really honest with you. The way they portray masculinity in this show, I'm offended by.
Yeah. Well, I was a little offended by the mansplaining of femininity in that other lens, right? Because here they are in the soft white underbelly. They're talking about like people just kind of choosing to be in their filth in their litter box or whatever, and there they are, and then here's this guy like, well, I think it's this unhappiness in a relationship, and it's unhappiness, and then you just don't get to live your life the way you are, and I'm like, that is like so surfacey to me. Even in the Gilead story, like all of this stuff is explaining something that for the feminine energy, since inception. Like, how about like a little space for women being angry because we've been blamed?
Yes.
For the entire fall of man.
Yes.
Throughout generations. How about women be a little salty because we've been oppressed for since then, because apparently we're a side rib, we're not our own rib. I just there's not enough space in the world for feminine energy, and I'm like here for the conversation. I'm here for the healing of it. I'm here for the changing of it, because it's so annoying.
So going back to your comment on the fall of man, I had a very candid conversation with a man on his take of that situation, and it was beautiful that someone came to him and told him that really in the end it was Adam's responsibility to protect her, and it was fascinating to see how he described how Adam failed his wife and how it was his job to lead her. And I think one of the feminine urges that I've had myself is to rebel against my own role as a woman with a man. Because if you do not have a masculine partner, that is your role, if you don't have a masculine partner who understands his role as a masculine force in your life, it doesn't work well. It doesn't, especially if you're a strong woman. A strong woman needs a strong man, in my opinion. And if you don't have that dynamic, what happens is you start to diminish your role. Being a mother isn't enough. Being a loving spouse becomes Not enough. Having the ability to support your husband becomes not enough. And not everyone wants that, so I'm not saying you should, but if that is your role, if that's where you have chosen that lifestyle, to understand that if you don't have a strong man in that role, you become complacent yourself. And a man is supposed to lead a household. That is the way we are created.
Is it how we were created though? I have questions, and I have questions for people who cannot like answer these, or entities that cannot answer these questions.
Fair.
Because I'm like, is it that it is supposed to be that way, or is it that we've been told that it's that way for generation upon generation upon generation, until it's like you're in the echo chamber just doing like what is heard on that end, you know? Like it could have started as like, hey, just be autonomous and live a good life, and then at the end of the echo chamber it's like, follow your husband, and like, you know.
So
like,
that's a great way to look at it, right? Like, is this us? Is it not? Well, I like to look at nature in general. I mean, nature screams at us why it is the way it is, and for me personally, I love lions for a lot of reasons.
I have a lion in my house. She's lovely.
And
I'm now a lion tamer, by the way.
But if you watch a pride of lions, right, and you watch the male, okay, the female's just as fierce, and you know she's just as fierce. But if you ever see another male come onto the turf, you'll watch as she gets under his head. Mm-hmm. And it looks like she's scared, but she's not. She's being very strategic about it. She's protecting his neck. Mm-hmm. So if they fight, he's safe, right? And they work as one. One's not more important than the other. They work as a team. Mm. Yes, he leads, but that's his queen. Mm-hmm. That's his partner. And I feel like in life, if we paid more attention, instead of the power dynamic, because I think that's where we get lost in translation, is the idea of a leader has more power, but it's not true. Mm-hmm. You know,
that I have actually serious qualms with, like the leader follower kind of thing, and I was born oppositional, and I get that, but I just sometimes I'm like, why should I follow you? Like, what is it that you have done that has like thousands of years of somebody saying like, oh, the preacher is the leader, the teacher is the leader, and I'm like, here, fuzzy-haired wild child, like, why?
Those are the best questions. Why should you follow that man? That is a great question. We choose who we follow. That is the feminine power that we have. We get to choose. It isn't I have to submit to you because you're who you are. It's I choose you. Well, I choose you to lead because I trust you to lead me.
To me, as oppositional in my growing up years, it was a problem because I'm like, you want me to lead, or you know, you want to lead and you want me to follow. My oppositional self is just going to actually go the other way, regardless of whether it's good for me or whether it's bad for me, whether they're the person or whatnot. And this was the truth. My parents with my grandparents, well, not so much my grandparents. I really had a lot of respect for like that matriarchy, like old timey lady. Like there for some reason I did not have an issue following that energy. But for really, also if you hear a lot of barking and screaming, our kids are going nuts. They're playing with the dogs.
They're having a blast.
I promise it's safe out there.
It's probably mine.
It's probably safe, I think. Well, I know the dogs are mine, but yeah. It's happy noise.
They are very happy noises. Yes, I just find it hilarious because we're having this conversation and this is perfect. Yeah. The background noise is perfect for what we're discussing. I love the way you're looking at this because you're right on track to kind of, I feel like we're on the same vibration when we're talking about this, because I feel that a lot of the time we are put into a category. It's very black and white, into a box. Mm-hmm. But I feel the reason we're here right now is because, at the risk of sounding like Serena Joy, we've abandoned our roles as women, and we've abandoned our roles as housewives. And I'm not saying we should all stay home and not work and not have dreams. That's not what I'm saying. The nuclear family has been torn apart. Mm-hmm. It just is. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. And because of this, we didn't have a model to replace it. And because we didn't have a model to replace, we have nothing, and we're kind of winging it. And society's paying for it. We have women that don't understand their role, and I'm not saying they have to be in a specific role, but I mean they don't know what their role should be.
Yeah.
They don't know. Should I be an independent woman that makes my own money? Is that okay? And they're not finding their inner compass, their natural, specific to them inner compass, because society has no base, no model, no firm foundation anymore.
So I don't know where the model is. I don't know. I don't know if we ever actually did honestly, because I'm human. Most likely you all are human as well. But we have a very patriarchal society, but it's also been very told. It's been told through us through like narratives, right? These narratives that have come down through our human lineage in religious form, in textbook form, and through just people's creative imaginations. So I don't know that we actually ever had the model. We've just had these like carbon copies of somebody's idea of what it should be. And being that we're all like real and here and present together, hindsight is 2020. So when you're looking back at something, you're like, I survived. You're looking at the survival part of like everything that happened in those difficult times, of the struggle, of the things that people actually like maybe didn't. You don't even see the people that didn't make it. You only see the survivors of it all. So it's easy to romanticize. It's easy to honeymoon the past because we made it.
and let's be fair, the traditional sense, right? This is a conversation I have with my daughter a lot, because we are very much in love with old Hollywood. And by old Hollywood, I mean Cary Grant era. Like that was the last on-screen man outside of Sean Connery that
Sean Connery. He even had that like thing. He used to smack him around a little.
Man.
Don't come for me.
So yes, everyone's like, you're picking men that slapped women on screen, and I'm like, there is there is something about old Hollywood, okay?
It's romantic.
It is incredibly romantic. I'm sorry, but there's something about a man that knows his power, knows how to lead, and knows how to calm a woman down. I don't condone men slapping women. I do, however, love how simplistic
it looked from the rear view mirror.
It looked from the rear view mirror.
Yeah.
However, let's talk reality and facts. And this is where I think we do have a model. If you're a single woman and you are very smart and you are great with your finances, you are good at managing whatever money comes in that you make for yourself, and you don't have a husband, do you need a man? This is a question women ask all the time. And I will tell you, I fit this mold. You know what I mean? I box. I do combat sports. I also...
You're very much in your masculine balance, your feminine masculine balance.
I know how I do combat sports. I know how to use different forms of protection, right? Mm-hmm. I know how to fix things. I'm not a craftsman by any means, but I know how to fix things if they're broken. I know how to do a lot of things. Mm-hmm. That said, I need a man. And I'm not talking about romantically. I'm not talking about a husband. But when my plumbing went down, I didn't go, where's the first female plumber I can find? No. I went looking for a man to help me with that. That doesn't mean a female couldn't have done a great job. It means that's where I went. When I had someone come into my life who was a little aggressive as a masculine, I didn't go to my female bestie and say, let's go get that guy who's coming at me. No, I ran to a man, a gentleman friend of mine, and said, this man is stalking me, he's bothering me. Mm-hmm. And they came to my aid. So I think the interesting thing that we need to remember as women, and we need to be able to surrender our pride, is that men are important.
Oh, yeah.
They're incredibly important. Their role in the masculine protector form is absolute.
I just had an RBF arresting Brenna face because I've been struggling with this with my husband, because him and I are very much battling for roles right now. It's been a whole role reversal in our household, and we won't even get into that today, but it's just been a lot of different things of like, okay, wait, am I doing dinner? Are you doing dinner? Because I did dinner a long time when the situations were different, and now they are different. And I'm in the position where dinner used to be on the table when you got home. Now, like it is very difficult to we have okay, sorry, stumbling over my words, but we have the model, right? We do, but
what happens when things change?
it's all scrambled now. I don't think you can put, it's like Pandora's box. You can't put the 2000s back in the 1950s. You just can't. It's not going to happen. It's not going to work.
So you have to create your own model, one that works for your family, remembering the basic principles at the end of the day. So an example would be, we had this great idea that what's masculine, what's feminine, are the roles changing or not? I don't think they're changing. I think the roles are the same. The difference is how they look in our households. So an example would be, you're coming home from work, you want dinner on the table, right? You're still the nurturer. So you come home and you say, I want dinner on the table. An example. You're like, I would like to have dinner ready when I get home tonight. I left out this to be cooked. Can you do that? Thanks.
Yeah.
That's a partnership, right? But when you come home, you ask him, you go into your feminine, you give the hugs, you give the love, you're happy to see everyone. You should be allowed to still be feminine. You should be allowed to still be able to go in the bath, you know what I'm saying? And prep up and feel pretty and pampered and loved. And the conversation has to be spoken that those are your desires, right? As women, that's a hard place to be because the world teaches us we're not supposed to have those conversations. We're not really taught how to have those conversations with our significant other.
No, not at all.
So we have to create this model ourselves. We still, if even if you went to work and came home, if a guy is coming in to break in, no matter how she-ra you are, you're still going to tell your husband, go get that guy.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
No. Not only that, but like, I'm like, I'll be like in the
throw
background,
things
like,
at him,
not
girl.
knowing what to do. So I'm not religious per se. I grew up with a certain set of theologies. My parents were like, hey, we don't, they're very hippie. They were like, we don't want you to be told what you believe. Like, we're going to let you go out into the world and find it yourselves. So I've studied a lot of different religions and things like that. And I don't know that we've ever really had a very good foundation or explanation.
Okay.
So the closest that I've had, the closest that I feel that makes the most sense for me, granted this may not make sense for everybody else, but in was the Jewish the study the Torah?
The Torah.
Yeah. So in there, they don't talk about man, woman. They talk about masculine and feminine principles. And I'm like,
I love this,
okay,
where this is going.
I can subscribe to this because when I think of man and woman, you think the physical body, right? You think of like that. But when you think of the principle, you think of like, somebody's going to cook dinner. Somebody, I don't know who, but somebody's
the better
gonna
chef,
do it, right?
The person with the most time, the person that has the opportunity
that makes the most
to do
sense,
that,
right? That is going to be able to like do it in that moment. No judgment if it's a guy or a girl. It's a principle, right?
It needs to get done. If there's a task that needs to get done, the person with the time does it. That's something that I believe in very strongly.
Yeah.
And that is in my household. I have a lot of little men and a lot of little women. You know what I mean? So that is kind of the goal that we're working on in our house as well, because I have both. I have a very feminine girl. Right? And what I mean by feminine is she's a nurturer. She likes her, that's where she spends a lot of her time. Physically, aesthetically, she likes to look very feminine. She likes the dresses. She likes the societal. She likes to pamper herself. Then I have another on the opposite end of the spectrum who likes to dress in a more masculine role. She enjoys being in control and power. However, she's just as feminine. She is just as feminine. She's a nurturer. She likes to make sure everyone's taken care of. And she is absolutely a feminine woman. But her masculine energy is more dominant. So she has to learn how to balance both. And she has to learn by the way, she's teaching me this because I have both. I'm learning to be okay with the fact that my feminine needs to feel pretty.
Yes, absolutely.
But the masculine form in me, which is incredibly integrated, I have masculine energy. My protective nature It'll kick in unless there is, and here's the interesting thing, I will be the most, in my most masculine form when I feel the need to protect and provide for the people around me. However, if I have a man that comes around that is completely embodied in his masculine, I don't need to do that anymore in that room, in that time. And I am free to be in my feminine form.
So take it back to nature, like you were saying, like how the lioness knew what to do. But like even the mama bear, you know, like she has like mama bear protective skills. Like even nature mimics, like sometimes the penguin wants to marry another dude and have like a little penguin baby with a guy. You know what I mean? Sometimes there is this mirroring of masculine and feminine energies and principles.
Yes.
Not necessarily like embodiment.
Correct. You can have a woman, for instance, like my daughter would be a good example of this because she's in her masculine form, where she's comfortable leading, where she's comfortable being in that form, the protector, provider role. She might meet a masculine, you know, who is much more comfortable in the nurturing role, where he feels, you know, he feels better being the man behind the woman. And that dynamic can work so beautifully. The difference here is that she learns to submit to him in a different way, and he learns to submit to her in a different way. But that is an unspoken decision between the very masculine feminine and the very feminine masculine. So where we get in trouble as a society is trying to decide what that looks like when we're not in that dynamic.
Or trying to tell other people what it should look like.
Or trying to tell other people.
In my thought process, it's always like very lava lamp, like it's fluid. It's like it's bubbling over here, it's gelling over there. It's more of like the masculine goo that holds the feminine bubbles on the inside, and it just kind of like moves around each other in like a way where it's not like, it's beautiful to look at. It flows. It has an energy. You heat it up and it behaves a certain way. You cool it down and it behaves a certain way. It's more of like a chemistry project than like this like solid. This is why women are not happy. Like that guy on Soft White Underbelly, he was like, you know, you can give a woman everything. Like they just don't want it. Like
I've actually had a man tell me that.
I don't think he was saying it just like that, but that's how I interpreted it. I was like, we gotta talk.
Women or men, we don't have business telling each other how they should be. I believe that a lot because I've had a man tell me, you know, it doesn't matter how I treat a woman, she'll treat me, she'll either love me or hate me based on her own decision, not based on how I treat her. So I could treat her like crap and she'd still want me. And he's not wrong.
I mean, I think there might be some people out there that are like going to embody that, but...
Right, like there are some that are out there that are like that. And, you know, paying attention to his perspective and his opinion, I looked at it and I'm like, you know, you're right. If a woman loves you, you can treat her like absolute crap and she might still give to you, but do you deserve it? You know, like that was my thought is sure, yeah. That says a lot about her. What a wonderful woman that would love you even if you're, forgive me, a pile of shit. You know what I mean? Who treats her terribly or has no problem talking to other women or whatever it is that his deal was. But my point in it was that listening to him talk is it was like, it's an interesting perspective you have to know that. Why wouldn't you want to give her more? That says more about you than it does about the woman who's willing to submit.
Yeah.
But I think that's where we also have a divide where modern day feminism, forgive me, is so flawed, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of modern day feminism because I feel very attacked by it. And I'm just as valid and I'm just as...
Whoa, that went deep. Sorry,
Yeah.
we have to talk. Like, what is it about? Because I'm like, me over here, just kind of like living in my own bubble. I'm like, well, what is modern feminism? Because I'm not sure I'm understanding like exactly what it is, or how somebody could feel defensive about it or attacked by it.
That's a great question. I had this debate with a friend of mine who's younger than me. It was actually a debate on Andrew Tate.
Oh, God. Oh, okay. I'm very limited in my knowledge about him, but I know he's very controversial, so go on.
He is incredibly controversial. And it wasn't about him in general or what he said. It was a little bit about what he said. But I was telling her, you know, sometimes when people speak in extremes, you have to look for the truth underneath that. And I think modern day feminism is the polar opposite of Andrew Tate. If you listen to the things that he says, you'll either agree or disagree with him strongly because it's an extreme viewpoint that he puts out into the world. I have no opinion on the man himself. I'm not going to go there. It's just not interesting for me to give that, and I don't think it matters because I'm not. He doesn't know me. I don't know him. That's not the point. But the point is, you can't deny that he has an extreme view. Modern day feminism is the opposite of that extreme view, and I feel that we are in an age, whether you're man or woman, people want to villainize you when you think differently than they do.
Yes,
and modern day feminism has a problem with the fact that I see no problem in serving a husband. I love being a stay-at-home mom when I was allowed the privilege to do so. When I was allowed to serve my husband and have dinner on the table and, manage our finances and make sure our bills were paid on time, to encourage him in his job and, be respectful around his friends. If he had someone that came over, I loved cooking for them. This was a beautiful model that I enjoyed very much. And modern day feminism would call me sad. And I've heard them say that it's sad that I'm indoctrinated, brainwashed, don't have a mind of my own. I'm also a woman with 2 businesses, a PR manager, a talent manager, and, I'm highly intelligent. Sorry, I don't feel like there's anything wrong with the fact that, to me, that's bliss. To have a very masculine man to protect and provide for me, that to me, that's heaven. But to modern day feminism, I'm just a brainless Barbie.
Well, it's okay. So I'm gonna just dive a little deeper into this because it's kind of like that thought process of this or that, making it us against them. Because is it that, or is it that just everybody these days is so extreme? It's so extreme. Like
I don't think they should live like me or my dream of heaven. Like if they don't like that, they shouldn't engage in that. They'd be miserable.
Well, no,
but don't tell me that's not valid.
No,
I'm valid.
Absolutely. No. Like, live your life, girl. Like,
right?
Live your best life and
exactly.
be happy about it. But like when we're saying somebody's coming at you and attacking you about it, so like, well, where are you getting this model from? Like it almost feels like because we are in this place where we don't have some sort of like anchor or grounding or like the side of the pool to like hang on to, or else we're gonna like go into the abyss of the deep end. We're gonna just go like, it's not right. We don't know what it is. We don't know what we want. We don't know what is like the model, but that's wrong. Like we're gonna just say like that is not right. Like we don't know what it is, but we know that's not it. So to me, then that's where those like extreme spaces come from. And then you have people like Andrew Tate, and goodness, I don't know much about the guy, but like I think of somebody like that, and I'm like, wow, that is a very interesting exaltation of the energy that you have to like work on this planet with. But to, like I'd say to you or say to him, live your best life. But the difference is that you as a housewife, are you really hurting that person that is giving you all this guidance? Are you really hurting them at the core of like where maybe like they're a little butthurt about it, but like are you really truly like causing harm to them? I think the thing about his demonstration of like that extreme masculinity is that he actually does hurt people, right? Like I don't know much about him, or he's been accused of it.
Well, his personal accusations, I don't know enough about the court cases to really give my opinion on that. I do know enough about his first ones where whether or not he did it, it was a very interesting court situation where they were definitely going illegally trying to take him down, and that's not okay in any form for any of us. Nobody wants to see that happen, because if it'll happen to him, it could happen to you. And it is something to look at for that government. But that's a topic for people that study that and have more information.
Yeah, maybe he's not the right model for that because it's too controversial. But
it's a good model for feminine and masculine, the toxicity between it, because they're the extremes is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Is they're extremes of both. Whether you agree with either form is the uninteresting part, right? The interesting part for me is can someone like me who feels like it's important, my role as a mother was important. Now being and supporting a man is important. I think the reason why people want to villainize that, makes them feel uncomfortable, is because it's not around anymore. We as women were not afforded the same luxury to stay at home with our children and actually mold them the way we should. You know, we should be able to nurture our babies. We should be able to pour into them that love, time, and affection. And we should be able to make well-rounded individuals that we give to our husbands later to raise as well. The men get, they get to become men, working with their fathers, going away, learning what it is to be a man, teaching our girls until they go out in the world and decide what they want to do, but letting them know what safe looks like. We don't have that anymore.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
don't have it.
Mr. Litterbox over there.
He is a perfect example of that.
Yeah,
going back to that. As a mother, you're going there going, this is not okay, this is not safe. And me as a mother, I'm going, this is not okay, this is not safe. Who's watching out for that man?
Or the kids.
Or the kids. So you've got the kids over here, right? They have you to protect them. But where's the mother that was supposed to protect him? Do you see what I mean?
And that's where, yes. And
that's why I'm valid.
As
ladies,
a society.
Ladies, that's why what I believe is valid. What I want, women like me that still exist, that have that feeling, that passion. Yes, we should be able to be the mothers and that get to do that. It's unfortunate we don't have more of that. It's unfortunate that, but that's why we have to teach our daughters better.
Yeah.
And that does come back to the masculine and the feminine coupling. If you are not with a man who understands who he is, and you're going to create life with him as a female and a woman and create a family, it's going to be more challenging. And it's going to be harder because you're both going to have to figure that out together. And if one of you is not willing to do that, we end up where we're at in life right now with single mothers raising their children on their own, trying to figure out how to be both roles. And then we're surprised when the women come out with their masculine form on first, and they're like, I will be the protector, I will be the provider. They find joy in that. But the perversion comes in, and I will call it perversion of our roles, comes in when we have disdain for the natural order and model. And the natural order and model comes from, women are like, oh, well, we shouldn't have to stay home with our children. I'm like, it's not a have to, it's a gift. We should be allowed to, because if you watch, again, nurture and nature, you see these, you see these women with, if you look at cats, for instance, they get to nurse their babies, they get to follow them. Do they get sick of their kids? Yes, you've seen it. I mean, there's some things I wouldn't condone in nature for a mother, but if you look at it, the model being able to take care of your kids is an honor.
Well, you said something, you're saying something about nature, but I'm also bringing it down to the choice. Isn't having a choice, and that's what's so inflammatory about Gilead, right? It's because only these people have the choice. Only these certain people, and they don't even live by their own standards in that show, by the way. Like, they have their own, like, little scapegoats and, like, their little side behaviors or whatever. But they don't, they take the choice away from people. And that is where it's like, shouldn't that be something that we study? Shouldn't that be something we, review and create scholarly information about? And I don't care if people call me woke. Call me woke. I'd rather be awoke than sleeping, because I'm
fair.
Awake,
That's
awake through
absolutely
life,
fair.
But I think we should have, discussions, colleges, schools, talking about team free will. There we go. So then you have this, here, you have the model of Gilead here, and you're way over on this side, and then because you have no choice. So then you're team free will, and that moves you back to the center, and you're like, okay, this is right. This is the sweet spot of where we want to be. But then all of a sudden you go over here, and you're like, there's debauchery happening right before our eyes. It's polluting our children. It's polluting our streets. It's making everything unsafe. And it's like, let's focus on this. How do you get to the sweet spot?
And that is exactly why we have societies that are built off of different models. Like, we have the religious texts, and this is why certain countries believe what they do and why they have their models. Because what that does is that creates culture, right? So you have to find the culture that fits what you want. You know what I mean? And then that's why we have those little societies. The problem we have here in America especially, I think, is that we all want this freedom to choose, but we want everything to be the way we want it, and that's not going to work. You know what I mean? There is order that needs to take place, and we as a nation are being spanked for not having that order, and that's dangerous. It's dangerous to have spoiled children running a country. And I'm not saying we have that, but I'm saying that is a danger if we do not teach our children law and order, if we do not teach them right from wrong. There has to be some sort of model. Yes, free will, but there has to be guidelines and there has to be safety. This is why we have the things we do. You know what I mean? There should be. I don't have the answers. I don't have the solutions for the gentleman in the park, but there should be someone who does. You should, as a mother, be able to be like, oh my goodness, there's a man sleeping here, and call a number, and they don't go take him away for being there. How dare you? But maybe they come and they put a porta potty there from now on in that park. And maybe they go in and say, hi, sir, do you need some help? They go get him breakfast. They get him out of the park and get him somewhere where he has a meal and a place to stay. You know what I mean? There should be things like that in place. I wish we had the answers. I wish there was a better way to go about it. But I genuinely, my belief system makes me sound so much like Serena Joy. It's dangerous for me. I'm like, I don't have all the answers, but I do believe that the answers do lie in the household.
They absolutely do, though.
We need a mother and a father, and we need them in the house, and however you choose to present that. If you're like, I'm a lesbian and I have a female as my companion, then that's a masculine form and a female form in the house that needs to raise these children. And I do believe, whether you like me, hate me for this or not, have an uncle that is a masculine presence for that male model. And if you have a daughter who happens to be, prefer men when you're in a same-sex couple marriage, it's important that she has a male in her life that is safe, that is respectful, as a mentor that shows her how she should be treated by men. If we're going to talk about our choice and how we're going to live our lifestyle, we have to give that same option to our children and give them a safe model to look at. Because if you live one way and you don't have any clue what it's like to be a man, and you're trying to raise a man, how is that going to work? You're not going to do the best job. I'm sorry, you're not. You need a man to raise that man. And it doesn't have to be a husband. It doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It can be a father. It could be an uncle. It could be a brother. But a solid male needs to be in that child's life for them to really understand what masculinity is for them. And I think that's where we have trouble with modern day feminism, is we want to believe as women we can do it all, even for our sons. And as a single mother, I'm going to tell you, I'm a very masculine woman. I am very strong. And I'm not enough on my own for my boys. They need their father.
Yeah.
Well, just a fact.
So the thing about it that you're saying, like, I'm like, woo.
I know this is very controversial. People are going to look at me like, but it's.
Well, think of whatever you want out there. Whatever. Leave a comment if you have something to say about it. Like, I don't like, we're not going to censor people here. We're just going to have an open conversation, which is like me coming back to the theory of or not theory, but just I guess where I land on all of it is that I don't have the answers, but I'm happy to talk to people about it. Like, I'm one of the weirdos on like social media when somebody's like out there like commenting like, oh, I'm going to just like say this weird thing out in social like cyberspace or whatever. Well, I'll comment, right? And I'll engage in a conversation with people and I'll keep it civil and all, but it's like I will go back and forth and and I'm very level-headed and I very, very rarely get very emotional, and I'm just like, I will go volley back and forth with people until there's some resolution there, because I honestly don't think we have the model right now. Yeah. I think that we need to talk about it. I think we need to discuss priorities. We need to prioritize values. Like what is valuable to you?
Yes.
You could talk masculine, feminine at the umpteenth degree.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, I think one thing that I could say that most people that know you, your value is, I need my children to be safe. I need my children to be happy. I need them to be healthy.
I just want to make exactly that. I want them to, and I don't know about even being happy. I think that's not me. I don't want my kids to be happy all the time.
Well, at least the opportunity, right?
Yeah, but I want them to understand that happiness is part of their life. It is not a journey. It's a part of the journey. It's not a destination.
Right.
Because I think that breeds so much discontent in your life when you're waiting for the moment to be happy. you don't realize how much happiness you have in the moment. It's a moment, not a forever thing. You're going to be happy. You're going to be sad. You're going to be devastated and broken. And that's going to rebuild you to a place where you feel excellent bliss when you move out of that. You know, life can be wild and fun and crazy, and I want them to experience all of it, but I want them to also have that anchor that brings them back down to earth to remind themselves that it's not about them. It's about us as a whole. It's about the people around them. It's about their mark on society. How are they going to leave the world a better place when they leave? Their little corner, their little life, their little group. How is that going to be better because they exist? That matters to me.
Yeah.
And so when we're talking about masculine and feminine roles, I love men so much because I feel like they are on attack so much, so often for being who they naturally want to be.
Yeah.
So we need a man. Forgive me, I had this conversation. The hate I got for this was so deep. But we need a man like Andrew Tate. We need the feminist movement that is so extreme. And we need them both to come to a head so that we can find that middle ground. When you have two extremes coming at each other, but do we want them? No.
Do we want them? Okay, let's not.
But do we need them for this time when people have no idea what's right or wrong, and when they can't find that own model in their own home? Those extremes help us see, all the way over there, not good. Oh, all the way over there, definitely not good. But they like this about this. They like this about this. And then they create that foundation for their family.
Yeah.
And so do I like it? No. Do I agree with everything I hear on either side? Absolutely not. But it does help me find my own firm core of what I believe.
And that's the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
Like going back to center, going back to yourself, going back to your values, going back to like, okay, I can make this work because I care about this. And this is how we'll do it for us, right? Like we don't. I need to see the end of this though. I hear it's a wicked, awesome ending. I don't know of the Handmaid's Tale. Maybe we come back to this conversation after we wrap up how that all.
Yes,
wrap it up.
we are going to have a part 2 on this so that I can talk about it a little bit more because I have so many thoughts that I can't share with you yet till you finish the season.
Okay, I got to episode 3, and then I was like looking at the little thing, I was scrolling down, and I'm like, dang, I need to keep these episodes in a jar under my sink because once it's over, it is going to be over, and I won't have like the Handmaid's Tale to look forward to anymore. And I actually did it was an era there. Last year, I was watching it, binge watching it. Changed me.
It definitely changed me as well in a lot of ways. And I found myself really surprised by how much I loved the main character, Serena Joy. Because everyone hates Serena, including the woman who plays her, by the way, hates her. And I'm like, I hate everything she does in the show. Don't get me wrong. I don't like that. But I see her so multifaceted because she wants so badly to please her dad.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a beautiful storyline when you watch her and her motivation behind her actions in the beginning were so strongly rooted in her convictions. But and the reason I love her is because she shows us what happens when you refuse to care about others and you only want for yourself. She's such a narcissist and she's so self-absorbed, and I love to hate her, which is why I love Serena Joy. I love to hate her because she doesn't have the compassion for other people's ways of life. She sees them as degenerate. She sees them as gross. And I would never see that. So there's the contrast, right? In real life is if I saw someone living a life that was contrast to what I want, I wouldn't be like, oh, that's wrong. You shouldn't live that way. I'd be happy for them if they're happy. If they found a way to make that work in their life and that's what they want and that's how they see happiness, who am I to judge that? That's not my business.
Right. Well, I think that's where you diverge from Serena George, because she has that that's almost like her anosognosia. Like she just can't see beyond her own self, and that
beyond the end of her nose, she cannot see.
Oh, and that
it's all
is
about
so
Serena.
hard. It's so struggling in life with people like that.
I think you're going to be pleased with her fate.
Good. Okay.
I think you'll be very pleased. I was as well. I will tell you this as someone who loves to hate her, and I had this big, long, like hour-long talk about her and alone with a bunch of women in a room.
Okay, we're gonna watch the end and we're gonna come back to this conversation. Or
yes,
by we,
we're gonna table that part. But what I will tell you is what I learned about women in general from that conversation, because there were so many different views on what they thought, is that women are so beautiful and multifaceted in general, that these women that had opposite views, even you and I, we agree on a lot of things, but we do have other things where we don't, where we just have very different viewpoints, but and we can share them, and it's a beautiful thing. I think you sharpen me, like they say, iron sharpens iron, and so we learn more, and I think I become enlightened and refreshed by our conversations, and I do go back and think about my opinion, and do I really believe what I do? Is that okay? And it's so interesting. I love it. We should grow and learn from each other's experience.
It's like a dance, dude.
Yes.
I need to go back and forth with people because it's just how I personally learn. And I realized the other day, I was talking to my husband about this. I actually didn't talk to a lot of people when I was growing up. A lot of my childhood was very much introverted, and so much so that I think while introverted is my natural state, I was almost like, this is maladaptive. It's abnormal, and so I was like, oh, I have to force myself out into the world and just force this energy out into. But it was like it came out as a hot mess, and I had this very sorry, we won't go there, but the different podcast, but. My realization of where I'm landing, middle-aged lady over here, is that I need conversation. I need to go back and forth with people, and if they get upset, some people get upset when that your word comes back to them because they're like, my word wasn't like the book, it didn't shut everything down with one solid comment. I was like, no, I need a little. Can I get a little more with that? I have to go back and forth with people in order to feel resolution, what is that people have closure, just something in the conversation. And also not only that, but it mimics a lot of the way that energy is generated.
Yes.
With the alternating currents, you have to have that on off, right? You have to have a back and forth, or even solar energy, that little ion that goes back and forth. I think it is important to be able to go back and forth with people respectfully. Not trying to hurt anybody. If you want to exalt your inner Regina, I was going to say Regina George.
Serena Joy. Same person, I guess, right? Yeah. Same energy. Let's just say it. Mean girl energy.
Yeah, mean girl energy. But if you want to exalt that, let's go through it in conversation, because I really don't think that we've got it in this society. Maybe it's me. I just don't think we have it yet. I don't.
I agree. I will say this about Serena Joy energy, is that you notice that women don't like her. In the show, women do not like her because of...
She bothers me.
She does. No, women instinctively just do not like Serena Joy. And June plays on that a lot. That's her only power play, is she loves to point out to her how much women hate her.
Well, that's also what makes you like her a little bit, because you're like, oh, the enemy likes her. Her biggest enemy, the person who should hate her the most, often comes back to a friendship with her, and it's oh, I would have just kicked her off the train. I would have kicked her off the train.
Right. Yes. There are moments. I think that's the thing, though. That's the thing I love about June, is she's the most imperfect woman, right? She's not on either side of extreme feminism or this extreme patriarchal model.
You want to follow her, right? Because you're that's she's got it.
I personally hate June Osborne, and everyone loves June Osborne, and I will tell you, I can't stand the character at all. I don't like her. I love the model they make for June. I love that people champion her, and I will say in the later episodes, I do become a small fangirl for her. However, she's very selfish. Probably more selfish than Serena Joy. Yeah. And I feel like she, I mean, that's environmental. There's so many facets to her too. But if you were to ask me who I champion in there, it's not her. It's actually a side character who is her best friend, Moira, who I consider to be probably the model of femininity in every form. And funny about that is she's a masculine version of a female, right? She's a lesbian in the show who becomes a handmaid because she's fertile, and that's a whole other story. But when she leaves and when she escapes this dystopian society, her entire life is about helping other people and having compassion without judgment for what they went through and their feelings with it. Whereas June only feels people should feel like her.
Well, she's very vengeful. She's very, like, driven by things that I don't care, like, characteristics don't jive. I guess I see what you're saying. Like, her drives don't speak to me as much, and then
Her
even,
motivation's
like,
a little skewed.
Yeah, even when she's looking for her daughter or whatever, oftentimes she's just looking for, like, Nick or whatever. Like, it just seems like that to me. I'm like, you're really not looking for your daughter. Cause,
You just want Nick's attention.
yeah,
Well,
I mean, maybe that's a judgment, but I just sometimes I'm like, nah.
can we just give a little bit of love for Elizabeth Moss, who plays June, and her ability to bring that character to screen, because I am a fan of her.
Yeah,
I am a
like,
fan of
her
Elizabeth
acting.
Moss and her ability to bring all those facets to June, and gosh, to play that role for as long as she did, it's a heavy role, and to see her bring it, she embodies her on screen. Like, that's not Elizabeth Moss, that's June Osborne, you know. And the same with the beautiful actress that plays Serena Joy. I fangirl over the actress. That's really what
Yeah.
it is. If it's underneath it all, it's really Yvonne that I'm like, oh, I love her because she's so beautiful as a human, right?
Yeah, she really is pretty.
And I
But,
mean
like, as a, like,
inwardly
yeah.
too. Like, she just has this beautiful aura about her, and it comes through even on the show. And I'm pretty sure that's what I really connect to, is the fact that I'm looking at her and I'm like, you just see Yvonne's beautiful heart come through, but she plays that character so well. She plays her emotion, her anger, her jealousy.
Now,
So
you have me thinking this is why I can't separate the show from reality, because I'm like, the who? Yvonne, huh?
yeah, girl, who's Yvonne?
Who's Yvonne?
I'm all, she's
Because I'm like so enamored in it, and I don't
Yeah.
even get to know these people outside of their
Right.
characters. Like, I can't break the third wall. I'm in this show. Like, I'm really into it. I'm drawn in.
So that's the danger of working as an actress, right? As an actor, because I do that, right? So I used to watch the show as in the show, and then this last year, because my role changed and now I'm an actor playing a role, and I have to embody another person. I understand that that's hard. It's so difficult because you have to take yourself out of that role.
Yeah.
And you have to be that other thing in that time. So when I'm watching these actors, and I know I've seen them in other things and everything, I'm just like, wow, I forgot it was you for a minute.
Yeah.
I really believe there's a June Osborne. Not really, but you know what I mean? Like, while I'm watching the show, you're just like rooting for them. You get angry with them.
Oh, yeah. No, that show too. You're just like,
Yes.
where do I sign up?
Oh, there's this standoff thing in the show. Please watch it. But there's a spoiler alert, where on the screen, June sees Serena at a very big event where Serena just does this very public, very subtle power move, where she has her daughter, June's daughter, just hand her flowers. So innocent, right?
Right.
Kissing her on the cheek. And then her mask slips, and she just smiles because she knows somewhere June sees it, and she knows she's under her skin. And you are just so angry for June in that moment.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm going to get you. I don't know how, but we're going to get you, Serena. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the kind of acting that comes in that will make you forget, and it actually brings out real emotion into you of where you stand in female power and feminine energy. And that's female on female violence. I think that's why this show is so exciting, because there's another moment where my favorite character, Moira, confronts Serena. And because, in Gilead, they don't believe in being gay. Like, that will have you killed. And it's awful,
like bad killed too. It's not just.
So we have to change that, right, for YouTube. Unalived. You're unalived for just loving the person you love, right?
Yeah.
And so Moira escapes, but she has a moment where she gets to confront Serena, and she says, I've sinned plenty, but you're the gender traitor.
Oh, wow.
And it's a moment where you're like, oh, damn.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that hits hard and that hits deep, because she's not wrong.
So I have to watch the end. We have to wrap this up and like.
Sorry.
No. We have to wrap it up so that we can all go watch the show.
Yes, it does. It does bring out it's like fried green tomatoes. Ever seen it? Tawanda.
Yes.
It brings out that
Yes.
feminine fire, which, by the way, that's what makes us so attractive to the masculine, is that fire. We aren't meant to be weak and timid. Our strength comes from that fire, that protective. Men are the protector providers, but make no mistake, they trust us to protect the young when they are out hunting. So when we talk about that in modern day, that fire, that ferocity is so important that we kindle. We also have masculine energy. We are also divine masculine as well as divine feminine energy that we should be focused on. And that's all inward, not outward. So I would like to end my comments with that, with being, when it's in a household of two people, who cares what anyone outside of it thinks the model should be? It should just be those people deciding how that's going to go between the two of them. That's the right model, because they agreed upon it together, and that is what they're choosing. And if it doesn't work, they can tweak the system.
Yeah.
But it's between those two, and I have no business putting my opinion on what happens in their house.
I just think we're all tired, honestly. Like, I'm tired. I'm tired of a lot of things. I think you're tired. I'm not sure if you're tired, but
I'm tired.
like, wouldn't it be nice if you were a masculine energy and you could just like
Be
kind of
yourself?
like a pillow and just fall back into the feminine energy and just be like, oh. Or if you're feminine energy and you're just tired and you're like, I'm tired, and you could just fall back into that masculine, and the masculine's like, I got you, babe. I think we're just tired. Like, honestly, stop, everybody. I'm too tired out there for all of it.
Yes.
I need to Hulu and chill.
Hulu
and watch
and
the rest of that show.
Hulu and chill, yes.
Yeah.
I think that tiredness you're talking about too, it's not the way, that's not happy. We're so tired, and it's, if we're like, we want happiness. Well, if you want happiness in the moment, we have to make it, right?
Yeah.
So what are we doing to clog it?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things I love about having the opportunity to sit and having the privilege to watch The Handmaid's Tale, to binge it, to have the time to do that. That means that you're making time for yourself. And can we just celebrate that for a minute? You're tired, but you've made time for yourself, and you watched something and you broadened your perspective on things because of it. I think that's awesome.
Thank you. Yes. I need, and people make me tired. Those people that are like, oh, I never stop. It just go. And I'm like, you're making me tired because you're going through life and you're just going through the motions and you're not feeling everything. Where on the other hand, I'm dragging behind because I'm feeling everything to an acute degree. And I'm just, can we find a balance if it's off in the masculine and the feminine? Because I am tired. I'm very exhausted.
Anytime the masculine gets too much, the feminine rises. And I think right now the problem we're having as women too is the feminine's been here, the masculine's been here, and we need to find that balance back to center.
Yes, that would be great. If that includes a show, maybe some popcorn or some coffee and slippers.
Starts at home, guys. It starts with you. How do you want to see the change? Make it in your home.
Yeah, I'm like, if it's comfy, I don't care if it's masculine. I don't care if it's feminine. If it's comfy, you're good. You're good. That they say in society we shouldn't be comfortable, and I'm like, no. That's what we should be. We should be comfortable. We should have our own little slice of heaven. We should find our own little. However you get there. Whatever way you do, we all should have a little slice.
Some of us are happy cleaning. I mean, I'm not. If I'm cleaning, something's very wrong, and I'm trying to fix it through a clean house. I love having a clean space. I don't like the act of cleaning.
No, it's like I have to force myself to do it, and it's like, ugh.
But you know what I do like, and that's where I come back to the feminine thing, is that I like having a clean house and being a man's peace. And I think that is the feminine role. In a relationship with a masculine energy. And notice I'm using energy, not male, female. A feminine role in a masculine energy is to be their peace. And that is my personal belief and opinion. And if I'm in a relationship with a man, I want to be his peace.
You should have a safe, peaceful space with your whether it's a masculine, like I said, you should have a little pillow in each one of them. They should be
The world's hard enough as it is. I want
you.
a man to come home to me, or like just hypothetically speaking.
Yeah.
But I would love for that to be a model, right?
Right.
If I'm going to have a partner, and this is why I'm single, because you have to be worthy of that. But if I'm going to have a partner like that, I want him to come home to peace. Not, you've been gone all day and the house is a mess and I'm tired and this is, no. I want to be in a place in a relationship where I can be all those things, but when he's home, I don't need to complain about that anymore because we're together now.
Yeah.
So I've created a space where in peace we can just be. Feel that. You feel that?
I feel that, dude. Oh my
you
gosh.
feel that.
And I can honestly take accountability for places where I haven't provided that, and I needed that to be provided for me, and I think it's something to work on.
Yeah,
for sure.
But once you see it, you can.
Yeah.
And then when it comes back and it clicks, it's that simplicity of who cares? Rolls. We'll figure that out. But let's be each other's peace. Maybe and that is hard for me too. It is humbling yourself and sending that text. It's been a really rough day. I want to come home and just be peaceful with you.
Yeah.
And it's surrendering to what that might mean. That might mean that the dishes wait while you sit there together for a minute and just have peace.
Yeah.
Maybe you have quiet. You don't say a word and you do the dishes together. One of you's washing while the other one's putting away and you don't say a word. I mean, there's so many beautiful ways to create peace, and it just depends on your dynamic and how you two find peace together. But I have my nerve because I'm a single woman and I have to figure this out with my family right now, which are just my kids. So who am I to give advice on that? But that is what I plan to model
I think
if I ever end up in a relationship again.
No, there's a lot to take away from this conversation that I could grow from, because like I mentioned at the beginning of it, I really don't know. I'm figuring it out with you all. I don't even pretend like I have it all. But there's a lot to take away from this conversation, from shows, from real life example, to just take away, meditate on, and think about, and really just try to internalize to do better and be better, or at least be more peaceful.
Yes. So the next time we have a conversation on this topic, it will be Handmaid's Tale, the conclusion, and all of the different characters. So spoiler alerts again.
Yes.
Because I can't wait to dive into these characters.
Yeah, definitely. I actually didn't realize the season was back on, so I haven't given myself a lot of time to watch it. But now that I'm I have to take the jar out, break it, and watch it. So next time, we will see you back here and wrap up. We'll conclude. Yeah.
Yay.
Spoiler alert.
I'm excited.
Okay.
So if you were hyped up by this, if this made you angry, if you didn't agree, we want to hear from you.
Yeah. Comment, subscribe, all of the things.
Yes. We'll see you guys next time.
See you on the next one.